The talk tonight is about the law of love. Okay? The law of love is pretty much everything on Christianity, and not just Christianity, in humans, in nature. So if you talk about Mother Nature, is the law of love. Everything is connected. Everything is connected in ways, in many simple ways, where there's energy, where it's connected through communications, where it's connected through thinking, and even the trees are connected nowadays. It's proven that there's connections between the roots through fungi. You know, have you heard about this? They are connected. Everything's connected. The wind doesn't blow in directions because it's not meant to. Mother Nature is looking after everyone. So, and we are connected to each other. Everyone, every single of us have a responsibility among each other. Whether you walk on the street and you bump on someone, whether you are actually drop a hot coffee on someone's lap, there is a meaning there. Believe or not, there is a meaning there. Nothing happens with no meaning, whatever it is, whether it's bad or good. So, and when we talk about love, we have to talk about the teachings that came from Jesus. We have to talk about this. There's no way. And what is the great commandments? Do you know what great commandments are? Probably sometimes translating Portuguese to English can be a little bit complicated for some of us. And the biblical vocabulary is very complex in some ways. So the two great commandments. So the first one is, you shall love your Lord. You shall love your Lord, your God, with all your heart. And the second one, and your neighbors as yourself. We've got two major ones there. And within them is all God's law there. Everything is there. There's nothing that is missing if we put this in practice as it is, with our heart, with our soul. So it's a simple way, and all the spiritual laws are there. They form the essence of a spiritual growth. So there's no way for us to grow spiritually if we don't put in practice the love to God. Putting God as our creator. So he creates everything. He's part of us. We are part of it. So if we talk about God as a human being, and this is something that takes a while for us to understand, that God doesn't have a shape. He doesn't have white hair and white beard. God is the universe. God is the cosmic fluid, the fluid that forms us, the materia. So we are a dense substance in comparison to the air, but it's all part of the universe. All part of the energy that is forming the planets, is forming the galaxies. We are just part of it, in different density, different structure of atoms and molecules. But we are all the same, from the same principle. So when we talk about the first commandment, is the first one that we have to connect ourselves. If we have to follow a journey in life, and we have to follow in the aim of achieving spiritual development, what is the first step we take? We can't skip it, because otherwise it's going to be done on the proper way. The first step we take is learning how to connect ourselves to God. And then respecting, appreciating, be grateful, and seeing God in everything. And when we say seeing God in everything and in everyone, it means seeing God on this table, on the computer. Because someone created it. And that someone that invented computers was God's creation. Everything is God's creation. For those that have read books, from the Spiritism, especially the novels, there's some descriptions of the colonies on the spiritual world. When we pass away, we go there, right? So, Nosso for example. The structure, the building structure that he sees there is not the mirror. We are the mirror of them. Whatever we build here is our subconscious memory from what we see there. So this is all part of God's creation. The buildings are God's creation. So our hair, our clothing, the trees, again, as I said before, the nature that is all in harmony is God's creation. And we walk away, when we walk around in our life, whether we're walking, we're driving cars, we are connecting with workmates, we are connecting with flatmates, we are connecting with family, we are connecting with friends. If we start looking around and understand and feel that God is everywhere and creating everything and responsible for that creation through us, that's when we start connecting with God. That's when we start connecting with the first commandment, right? Which is love God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. It's all your soul, all your mind. We can't leave anything behind. That's it. Once we achieve that, we can move to the next one. But moving to the next one is possible to do without achieving that, but that's not going to be perfect. Right? We can't love ourselves and our neighbors if we can't love God, if we can't connect with God. We can make connections with our neighbors. We can make connection with us as human beings, as creation. But it's going to be very difficult for us to achieve that in full. It's impossible, because this is a step we need to take. We need to see God in ourselves, in everything. So, and then we follow the second one. The second commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. And that's what we do. We do in many situations, but we fail in many situations because we are humans. It's okay to fail. We are not perfect, otherwise we'll be God. No one's perfect. Jesus wasn't perfect. He can't be perfect. No one has achieved perfection, because otherwise we'll be the same as God, and that's not possible. But we can improve with our experiences, right? We can sit down every day, every night, at the end of the day, and reflect what we did right, what we could have done different. Right? How can we have treated that person in a different way? How could I have responded to their offense in a different way? So we don't give bad to bad, really. We try to bring goodness when we receive badness. Right? We try to. It's hard. But that's one of the biggest challenges we face. And we're going to see a little bit later. But looking at each other, look at people around us, whether they are family, whether they are our flatmates. We live with flatmates, especially us, migrants. Most of us are migrants. Some of you aren't. But you probably left home at some stage if you grew up here. And you carry on with your life. You have friends. You're probably sharing a room, or you're sharing a house. Whatever experience you have, we are always relating to people. We are relating to animals. So I have to include them there. So, do we respect them? Do we understand the differences? And beyond that, do we understand that every one of us has challenges in life? Every one of us has difficulties in relationship. Every one of us have difficulties in communication. Everyone. We talk about when we point a finger to someone, there's three fingers pointing to us, right? Okay? Because if we talk about people's mistakes, if we talk about people's wrongdoings, if we talk about things that we don't agree what someone did, we're pointing fingers, but in the sense, we are mirroring what we also do in our subconscious. We are collecting and we are emphasizing the weakness on others because that bothers us on us in most situations. That's the moment before we criticize someone. Let's just stop, think, step back, and say, do I do that too? Do I have that weakness too? That's when we start reflecting and understanding putting ourselves in the opportunity to understand others. It's difficult, especially when we are in a firing situation. That we need to get things out, right? And that's what makes that difficult. And that's sometimes that emotional intelligence. That's when we have to stop, have control of ourselves, and say, "Hold on, I probably do that too." Or maybe this person is not in a good moment in his or her life. Let's just step back. Let's just break the cycle of anger. Someone has to break it. Someone has to break a cycle of anger. So that's where we say the second commandment. How many situations we are treated in a way that we don't like? What do we think? Are we going to do the same with others? Or we're not going to do things that was done to us that we didn't like? So we're going to treat others the way we would like to be treated, right? And we're not going to treat others the way that we didn't like to be treated, correct? Because we didn't like it. Why we want the same for others? Right? Okay. There's one more thing I want to say there. Very important. We are here because, Spiritism is, the essence of Spiritism is reincarnation in Christianity. And we talk about everyone's having difficulties, everyone having challenges in life. And we can't forget about everyone's spirit experiences in past lives, bringing the weakness, bringing the traumas, bringing the anger, the revenge feelings in many situations. We can't forget about this, and that comes a little bit more understanding of our existence and difficulties in our relationships. Who knows or have heard about the parable of the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan? I think everyone, most of us. The story is that a traveler was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, and was attacked for robbers, and he was pretty much left naked. He was beaten up and nearly dead, was left on the ground on that trek in the desert. And then the story is that a priest and a Levite passed through him, ignored him. They saw him there. He just walked around and passed. Didn't do anything. No compassion, no feeling for help, nothing. They did just carry on their journey. And a Samaritan was the only one that stopped there. He actually put some dressing, first aid on his wounds, and put in his donkey and carry him back to the town and pay for accommodation and for someone to look after him. So that's the story about Good Samaritan. And the story there, how many situations we've done similar things? How many situations we were busy in life and we couldn't stop to talk to someone? Or we were busy in life, we couldn't actually stop to help someone that was in need, whether it's helping someone crossing the road, helping someone carrying a bag that was very heavy. How many situations? I've been there. No shame on that. We've been there. Our life is busy. How many times we ignore because we have hard feelings on that person? I'm not going to help that person because I don't like her or I don't like him. I'll let him do by himself, right? How many situations we come to that feeling in many situations? So this is the Samaritan. How many situations are we going to be the priest and the Levite? How many? How many we've been there? How many we've done there? So this is a reflection for us and comes again to the second great commandment. So we love us. We love our neighbors and we love us. So we want to be treated the same way as we are treated. And when we talk about all of this, we talk about being charitable, right? Doing charity. We're helping people, we're helping others in many ways. And when we come to places where poverty is not a huge problem, as we are now, we come from a country where poverty is a big problem. There's loads of opportunities to help people, right? Loads. Not that we don't have here. I'm sorry for people that is from here, but it's different there. It's a different reality. There's much more poor people than we have here. But there is lots of opportunities here too. Lots. It's just we have to dig in and find. And what is the meaning? Now, the question 886 on the Spiritist book, Kardec asked the spirits, what is the true meaning of charity as taught by Jesus? So what Jesus meant when he said about charity. And the spirits answered that question in this way. Benevolence towards everyone. Indulgence for the imperfections of others. Forgiveness of offenses. So what's benevolence? It's benevolence is being kind to everyone. Feeling love in ways, not love that we are talking about. It's love in terms of being kind, wanting good for the person, always wanting good things for them. And be prepared if anything comes different. You're prepared to have indulgence, which is forgiving and understanding differences, and you're prepared to forgive if there's an offense coming to you. So this is being charity, right? This is being charitable. Having a smile, smiling to people around you. Interesting that how many situations in life you met someone or you have a friend that is always good to be close to. When that person is there, it's always happy, isn't it? Do you have someone like in your life like that? It's always with you, it's always happy. It's good. You always want to be close to that person. Whether, getting out, going out, catching together, coming home, it's always good to be close to, right? Because it feels happy. That person brings happy energy, brings peace. So that's charity. That person is doing charity, sometimes even unconsciously, because he's a good company. He smiles, he understands, he talks to you, he makes jokes. And it's a person that probably doesn't judge you. So this is charity. Charity can be done in many ways. From sitting down and praying for someone that's on the other side of the planet. That's charity. And here we are. So unfortunately, I can't show the slides, but practical application for charity. There is a material help. We send clothes. We give money. We pay for charity on the internet. We sign up for a charitable company or non-profit organization, and we pay a monthly fee there that helps them running the organization, helping people in Africa, kids in Mozambique, and so the center does that. So this is one way, right? Moral support. How we do moral support? We can do moral support to our partner. We can do moral support to our brother or sister, to our parents, to our friends. To someone sit on the park with sad face, you just sit down and just start a conversation. That's moral support. Maybe that person needs to say something to someone that he doesn't know. There's no relation. Just someone that's neutral. Listening. Sometimes just the listening that they need. Kinds of action. So kinds of action can be so many things. So starting from not yelling at people in the traffic and not, swearing on the traffic, for example, that's one of them. Being kind. Everyone makes mistakes on traffic, right? Everyone can be distracted at the moment. The workers that we work with you, the workmates. I mean, sometimes they do things that not on the way that you would like that to be done, and sometimes they do things less that you have to do more because they didn't do everything, right? But then that's it. That's it is. One day it's going to be you. One day you're going to feel sick. You're going to be unwell, but you're at work. But you're not going to probably produce as much as you could. Someone else is going to have to do your job. Understanding. That's the hardest one, I think. Understanding everyone's differences. So again, yes, that person didn't do the job well, but there must be a reason behind that. Okay? There must be a reason behind this. So that person maybe doesn't like the job, but he needs the money, and that's the only job he got. He needs to pay for his kids' meals. He couldn't find another job. He doesn't like it, but doesn't mean he doesn't deserve the job. So yeah, everyone has difficulties. As I said before, we said before. And we face this every day. Every day we face those problems, those challenges in life. So, true charity consists not only in the aim on the alms you give, it also consists of benevolence, indulgence towards your fellow beings, and that is on the Gospel according to Spiritism. And comes this one. That's the challenges one for, I believe, for everyone. If you don't have challenge this one, you probably can go and meet Jesus tonight. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who persecute and slander you. So love your enemies, do good to them, even though they do bad to you. Yeah, so this challenging teachers invite us to expand our capacity for love beyond natural affinities. We have to talk about this because there is no way us talk about this without talk about reincarnation. In our life, the family is our school, our main school. We are there for a big reason. Our parents is our parents because there's a reason behind that. My brother or my sister that don't get along well, there's a big reason for that. That's the one we have to invest time and energy. Right? That's the one that we need to, that's a big reason why we are together. And they could be our enemies in the past. There's so many relationships that we read in books in Spiritism, and that's quite nice. And if you want to grab a book there, and there's stories about people's lives in past lives and then what they're experiencing now, and we start understanding all the dynamics, and we understand God's love because He gives opportunity to everyone. We probably killed people in the past. We probably did, all of us. We did really bad things in the past because it was part of our development, spirit development. We were in caves hunting and killing each other for the meat, or for the wives, or for the family, for the clowns, and we killed people. We probably live in the French Revolution. We live in the Inquisition. We probably could be one of those priests there, or part of it. Easily. And now we are facing the consequences of it. We are facing some relationships that we struggle. But that's where the understanding that comes to us. Once we start understanding the behind scenes of our lives, we have the energy, we have the ability to put in practice this, loving your enemies. Because your enemy is closer to you than you imagine. They are in your family most of the time. The enemies from the past. Those that probably have killed you or you have killed them, or vice versa. So, yeah. So, that's the challenge we face. And the message here is, look around, and they are very close to you. And they are those that we put all the energy that we need for that. Question 887, the Spirit's book. Love your enemies, but isn't love for our enemies contrary to our natural tendencies, which we just said? Certainly, no one can feel tender and passionate love for their enemies. We can't be in love with them, right? That's not what Jesus meant. To love your enemies is to forgive them with your heart and return good to evil. Good for evil, forgive me. By doing so, you become superior to them, whereas you place yourself below them by seeking revenge. So if you seek revenge, so we will be putting ourselves below them on our spiritual development. We're going to delay our spiritual development. We're going to feel unhappy. So the best way to bring happiness to our life is stop revenge. Break that cycle, the vicious cycle of anger. Someone needs to break it. Otherwise, it will never stop. And reincarnations until someone breaks it. just going to put that. And one more point here. So Emmanuel, on the consular, question 247. The question is the law of trials and atonements inflexible? That law is what we call proof and expiations, right? Different translation. Is that inflexible? Is God inflexible? Is human laws inflexible? You made a mistake, let's say you go to jail. There's no chance, second chance for you. That's what the question is about. Is God giving a second chance or no second chances at all? So you are, you're done, you make a mistake, let's say I'll judge you and you don't have second chances. Of course not. So that's Emmanuel responding it. Inflexibility and harshness do not exist in divine mercy. Based on the incarnate Spirit's conduct, the law may be tempered when one's existence already demonstrates expressions of love that cover a multitude of sins. If we make mistakes, whether it's this life or previous, but we change the way we live life, we start putting in practice the great commandments, we start loving others, we start being charitable, we start doing good things in life, things change. We get forgiven. Who has heard about the parable of the unforgiving debtor? Maybe the translation, everyone knows, but the translation is not very similar to what we know. So a servant went to the king. The king was charging some debts he had with him. And the king gave him a time frame to pay the debts. And he asked for more time because he was having difficulties in life. And the king ended up forgiving him. So, okay, now you don't need to pay anymore. You go. You do good things. You go. And the first thing he did when he left there, he went to another servant of his and charged that servant and punished him because he was owing his money. And he didn't forgive his servant. So he didn't do the same as his king did to him. So stories. So God gives us the forgiveness every day. We make mistakes every day, and we are always given second chance, or we wouldn't be here in this reincarnation. We wouldn't be in this family. So we are always having second chances. And He is expected that we do the same. We forgive our friends, we forgive our brothers and sisters, and we give them second chances. Because again, all of us make mistakes. So yeah, God's laws is very flexible, and we need to be flexible too. I'm going to have to speed up a bit because I'm going to go beyond the time today if I don't. A beautiful story on a book called Action and Reaction. There's two stories. I'm going to tell you one. Action and Reaction. The story of Adelino. Adelino was a very poor man, and he was actually the guide or the manager of a spiritualism church or center like this one. And he was very humbled. He had one child and two adopted childs with not much money. And his wife left him and left the kids 6 years before. He was raising those kids on his own. Again, his daughter was 9 years old, and the other two kids were younger, two brothers. And his mom was helping him looking after those kids. And Adelino had a very, very completely different story in life before. He was the son of a farmer. And again, this is in Brazil. And the farmer had slaves, African slaves. And he was a very, very, very mad man. He would beat those slaves up every day. He was very how do you say that? An angry man and not nice to people. He would mistreat everyone. His son, he was affair he had with one of the slave women. And every woman that he had a relationship as the slaves, he would sell them with the kid because he didn't want to have any kids around him. So he would have his relationship, do his business, walk away. They got pregnant, he would sell them, send them away. For some reason, this kid, he kept. His mum died at the birth. So he kept the kid and raised the kid as his son, paid all the scholarship, paid all his studies. He became a very knowledgeable son, which followed his dad's pathway, including beating up all the slaves, which was part of his blood. So his dad married another wife, and similar age as his son. So the son started having an affair with the mother-in-law. And they managed to kill the dad. Cutting that story short. So 5 years later, the dad on the spirit world was actually obsessing him to the point that led him to die. He was 11 years in a very poor conditions, in a very sad, suffering level on the spirit world, suffering for 11 years. Once he was actually rescued and sent back, and then he was reincarnated with a different purpose life. He was given a chance to come back and correct his mistakes, and he did so. And he then became a coordinator of a Christian place, and living in a very poor condition, in contrast with being a very rich man before. Living with kids that he barely could raise and adopting 2 kids. They were actually Africans. So the story goes on and on. But the story, the message for us that we are always given a second chance. And it doesn't mean that someone is enlightened, someone here, someone anywhere in life hasn't made any mistakes in life. No one is angel here. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has done bad things in the past. So it's worth reading this book. So Action and Reaction. There is this book in English. And it's a nice story. There's many stories. This is one of them. And embracing the law of love. So how can we do this then? Just for us to finish now. Again, we need to know ourselves. We know the biggest saying about Socrates: know yourself first. We need to understand who we are, where we are in life, who is around us and why, and what are our strengths and weaknesses in life. That's the starting point. And around this, we need to see God as part of our Creator. We're part of God's creation. That's going to leave us to finding ourselves, our pathways in our relationships. Find ourselves in finding forgiveness in many situations in life. Whether, again, is towards a family member, whether it's towards a friend. And that's going to lead us to view life in a different way, in a lighter way. I'd like to finish with, there is a paper with you guys, which is a lyric from a song, which will be our last prayer. It's a beautiful song, and I'm just going to put in here for us. Just pay attention to the lyrics, and this is what, by feeling God on us, that's what the song says. Oh, I'll put in here, that's fine.